Jonathan in his maroon sweater cradling his iPad, the sunlight weak, the morning uncertain. I was staring at the magazine in my hand, deeply breathing in and out, a willed and deliberate breathing, aware of itself. Breathe, such an easy target for scorn, so often summoned as panacea for our modern ills. But it worked. It helped push away my sense of engulfing tedium, even if only for brief moments. How does this happen? How do you wake up one morning and begin to question your life? Jonathan shifted on his seat. I kept my eyes on the magazine to discourage any whispered conversation. Something has been on your mind, he told me that morning as he buttered a piece of toast. I kept silent, slowly spooning muesli into my mouth, and he said nothing more. Why hadn't he asked me a question? Why hadn't he asked, what is on your mind? A question was braver than a statement. A question forced a reckoning. But Jonathan avoided direct questions because they had in them an element of confrontation. His dislike of confrontation I had once found endearing.
Word is also, it does something else in addition to, it's not just a story within a story, it also seems to be challenging our assumptions about who is capable of that sort of narration. There's some interesting play there about power and perception and class and race and all sorts of those markers of identity that cause people to assume things about us. And so then your characters are often offering us surprises. Do they surprise you when you're writing?
Sometimes, yes. I think that is true about challenging. I think with Half of the Yellow Sun, for me, it's a novel that has many different characters and three major sort of narrators, but the soul and the heart of the novel is Ubu, who is the houseboy character. And I remember when I was researching the novel, which is sort of set in Nigeria in the 1960s during the Nigeria-Biafra War. My parents lived through the war, and my mother had talked to me about the houseboy they had during the war, and how wonderful he was, how he really helped her with her children, my siblings who were born before and during the war. And I remember thinking, what was it like for him? Right? And my mother spoke very warmly about him, and he was almost family, that sort of thing. But I remember thinking, I wonder if he was resentful. I wonder how he felt. And in some ways, that's how the novel came about. I wanted to see it through his eyes. And I also, I think, in some ways, going back to what you said, wanted to challenge the idea of who tells the story. Not just in terms of class, because I think obviously we think it's only the people who have had the privilege of formal education who because in some ways the novel is a middle class exercise, really, right? It is. But to somehow try and poke holes in that idea that it isn't necessarily and doesn't have to be. That storytelling is, I think, a talent that cuts across class. I mean, anybody could tell a good story. But also I wanted to challenge that idea of the African story and who tells it. So in the novel you have the Englishman who's very well-intentioned and who wants to tell the story, but I guess in a way we're sort of saying, nope, it's not your story to tell, right? And so yes, I kind of like the idea of I'm not sure how in time, I think maybe after the novel is done, when I'm having chats like this and I realize, yes, that's, you know what I mean? Like I don't generally plan my fiction, but I don't actually sit down and say, now I shall challenge the idea, right? It's that these are things that I believe, and I think in some ways your worldview comes out in your fiction.
Sure, and I think, of course, the whole exercise of interviewing writers about what it is that they mean is difficult.
She's, master caregiver. She's all of the things all the traditional rules that women are expected to take on. And
Auntie Ifeka says to Olana that her life is her own. She gives a speech. It's a masterful speech. I felt it was being given to me. And it was just hugely empowering in the same way that reading your nonfiction is. To read this scene between two characters really had on me a very similar effect as reading, Feminist Manifesto, or We Should All Be Feminists.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. This is where Olana is heartbroken and she wants to make major changes to her life because her man has cheated on her. Her auntie has no time for that rubbish. Her auntie is like, no, you do not change your life for a man. You go back there and you go on with your life. Yep. Actually, Auntie Feka is also my kind of person.
So you alluded a little bit before to the challenges of being known as a spokesperson for feminism. So you have become known as a spokesperson for feminism, sometimes by choice it seems, and sometimes not. What are the challenges and pleasures of that role, and how has your stance on feminism been received around you've been around the world talking about these things, and you must get different reactions everywhere.
Pleasures? I don't know about pleasures.
I was hoping.
No, actually, I take that back. Yes, there are pleasures, and I'll tell you what they are. The pleasures are the sense of connection to other women, the feeling that, that obviously there are differences across culture, class, race, but there's so many similarities. I think that the reason I can go to Seoul in South Korea and talk to a room full of women and we just get each other. I'm talking about what it's like to be socialized, what it's like when you're 5 and already you're familiar with shame. And that idea that, and I think it's impossible to understand how girls are socialized in the world if we don't talk about shame. Shame about, just things like sit properly. I was told that sit. And I think about it and I'm like, I was 6 years old. And so this idea that my body was a thing to be ashamed of if I didn't somehow sit properly, which meant sit with your legs pressed close together. Right? And this idea of socialization being so focused on men, right? You need to learn how to cook because that's what you're going to do for your husband. You don't be too loud because then you're going to scare men away. Be ambitious but not too much because then you won't find a husband. All of that. And so in talking to women from different parts of the world, I find that we share many of these similarities, and I find it quite moving and beautiful to just, so that's a pleasure. A pleasure is that sense of, the awards that have become very popular that I shy away from because I'm always deeply suspicious of melodrama. So words like sisterhood, I'm always sort of like, I don't know, but I'm going to use it today. Sisterhood, Because also I think that many of those words are very easily become maudlin, and people will say things like, oh, you can't criticize any woman because of the sisterhood. And I'm just thinking, no, that's not what it is. Like, there are many women I want to criticize, especially if they take on positions that are bad for women, But yes, sisterhood. That's one of the pleasures, the sense of connection with other women, hearing their stories, just having those moments of recognition. I find that really beautiful. I also find it very affirming. It just makes me feel stronger and better. But then the non-pleasures, in some ways I think the non-pleasures make my case that we need feminism in the world. I think there's an outsized reaction to things that are feminist that in some ways make the case for feminism. So I consider the US and Nigeria my homes. I live in both places, and in Nigeria, feminism is it's sort of like, you talk about feminism, people think, oh my God, the devil has arrived. And it's also that many people don't even want to engage. So the response often is to turn the spokesperson into a caricature, because that way then you can silence. You don't even have to hear what's being said. So you know, in Nigeria, I think that the response to my public feminism is not terribly enthusiastic, to put it mildly. But at the same time, there are young women who, and some young men, who I think are talking about these things in a way that wasn't happening 10 years ago. So there's progress. It's very tiny and very incremental, but there's progress. But it's not fun, if that's what you're asking. And you're right as well about, part of it is by choice and part of it isn't. You know, I did make the choice to talk about feminism, and I will continue to talk about feminism. And, you know, and I don't care who gets angry because I will speak my mind. But there are times when it's emotionally exhausting, and there are times when you really just want to say to people, you know, this is actually this is for our good, right? Like, this is coming. You sometimes you're in a place where, no, I shouldn't say you. I should be specific and say I'm talking about myself. I'm in a place. It's that feeling of there's something terrible about feeling deliberately misunderstood. It's a really bad feeling, and constantly wanting to say, no, look, here's why feminism is good for everyone. And feeling that you're screaming and the wind is just carrying your words away. That's not pleasant or fun or pleasurable or anything. So those parts I don't like. I need to sit here now and pontificate about it. I had a very difficult time dealing with failure when I was starting out. And I think failure, two types of failure. There's the failure where you've written a story that's not very good. And then there's the failure where somebody just rejects what you've sent to them. And sometimes they're connected and sometimes they're not. So sometimes somebody rejects you not because your story is bad, but because it's not the right home for the story. And sometimes they reject you because your story is bad. And one of the things I had a difficult time dealing with initially was even just telling myself the truth that maybe a story I wrote wasn't good enough. I think it's important for a writer starting out to be able to do that. And obviously it's hard because, especially fiction, it's close to your heart, but you know, there are times when, and sometimes it's helpful to have somebody you love, who's also a good reader, who can say to you, this is just not working, this is just not very good. The lesson that I took from being rejected, I don't know, 30 times before somebody finally published my first short story, the first lesson was just that rage is good. All right, okay, that fell flat. It's that, in other words, that it's okay to be angry. So I would get these rejections and get so angry. And then I would have these sort of mini daydreams where I would imagine myself incredibly successful and going back to find that editor who had so far I haven't done that. But I think just making room to feel bad. You know, that if it means taking to your bed for a day to just feel bad and angry and all of those things, but what matters is that you get up and keep going. That's if there's a lesson there, that's what it is. And whether that leads to success or not, I don't know. But what I can tell you is that failure is part of the process. And then when you're starting out, you need to, it's helpful to have a plan for how to deal with failure, because failure will come.
You do with the anger.
I need to know who asked that, because we need to get together this evening. We need to start a rage society. Yes. The answer is yes. I do feel, you know, sometimes language fails me, because I'm not quite sure that anger quite captures it. It's a kind of, it's a raging exasperation. It's you know, it's that feeling that you've had it. What do I do with it? I don't know, sometimes I don't read the news. And I don't recommend that, because we do need to be awake and alert. But there are times I'm taking a break from the Washington Post and the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. I'm just taking a break for 2 days, just so that I can be sane. I also find that I'm reading a lot more poetry these days, just because I think I personally find it, I don't know, I look to language